Yes, I ripped the sides out and replaced those with columns. I have a new idea, but we'll get to that later. Today we are installing the base layer. So this is LECA, lightweight expanded clay aggregate, and that's what we're going to be using for our drainage layer. If you hunt this stuff down specifically for bioactive or planted enclosures, you're going to find that it's a little pricey. If you go in search of the same product but for horticultural applications, it's much more affordable. I got a large bag off Amazon and I think I only paid about $14. It does come dusty, so make sure you rinse it really well before using it and do that outside. It's clay, you don't want that in your drains. After putting down a decently thick layer, I'm going to cover it in window screen, and the purpose of this is to keep roots and all my substrate out of it. The substrate we're going to be using is a mix of coconut husk as well as soil mixed with perlite and horticultural charcoal. I also have some worm casings in there as a slow release fertilizer. Because we're planting plants in here that are going to grow a fairly robust root system, I want to put in my soil a little bit thicker than what you're probably imagining it would go in. At the front, I'm bringing it all the way up to the front of the glass, and at the back, I'm going about 5 inches deep. Once my substrate is in, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to roughly lay in my big pieces of furniture into this enclosure. I have 2 hides, one for the warm side, one for the cool side, and my large climbing branch that we did in a previous episode. Now my hides, the one on the left, it is just a piece of driftwood that I've cleaned and cut down to fit. It was huge when I found it. The one on the right is just a piece of cork bark. While I'm at it, I'm going to install the probe for my thermostat. And how I did this was I wrapped the probe in a cable tie so that it was snug, but I could still get it out. And then I glued it. I super glued it to the top of the hide. Now what I'm actually super gluing is the zip tie, not the probe. That way if the probe ever goes out, I can easily change it and I can just stuff the new probe right back in that same zip tie. I am going to put a water dish in here now. It's not full and it's not there for any purpose other than to see where I'm going to place it and decide on how much space I have left after it's in there. Now that I have all of these things in, it's finally time for me to screw this roof panel on. So here's a better look at how I attach the probe. It's super glued on the zip tie to the piece of cork, and then the probe is actually loose there. It just holds it in place, and here's a final look at what it looks like complete with the work we did today. I'm pretty happy with it at this point. I'm happier than I was with the side panels on. All that's left now is to plant it and then let it root.